What's going on, guys? Rome Gaming here, back in another video. Today's episode, we're going to be doing a dungeon review of an 11 Neltharus. I'm playing Mistweaver Monk. If you're not familiar with what I play, this is going to be more geared around how to heal this dungeon. Again, this was an 11 key, and it was a different route. I've never done this route before, so I thought it was kind of interesting, so thought I'd make a quick video on it. So before we get into the video real quick, we're sitting at around 514 eye level. We do have our 2 BIS trinkets. And we did just recently get a really good 528 weapon and a decent offhand. So those are 2 really nice things to have. We do not have our elemental lariat yet. We're still working in the ring department a little bit. We don't have the best rings. And our cloak's pretty good, actually. It looks like it's just, overall, we still just have some holes to fill in our gear. So we are a little bit under geared, in my opinion, for the content that we're running. We're 514. I'd like to be at around 520-ish. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Okay, so to start out the run, we grabbed these 2 wardens here, and we pulled them to the right, and we just pulled them into this other group. A lot of groups will go left, but we decided to go right, and we did not end up using the chains here, I believe. So I did think that was kind of interesting. Not sure why we decided not to use the chains. I don't think we even came back to use these at any point in the dungeon, so not sure if that was quite played correctly. One thing, when you are healing this, there is a frontal that goes out, and you can see here on this Rep Paladin, there's a slash that goes out. So it will require quite a bit of direct healing. So from here, we just pulled this group into the next group over here at the top of the platform. There's a roar that goes out, and make sure to avoid that. And then there's also a spear that will go out here as well. If you do get hit with it, you will be unable to move for 10 seconds, so make sure you're not getting hit by the spear. So after that pack, we just grouped everything else up in the hallway, including the next room. And this is actually where we ended up using the chains. So you can see right here, this is the first chain we used. We grouped everything up, and, we just burned them down with the first set of chains. And there is something here that does go out called Mending Clay. It's just a heal. It's going to heal one of their allies. But yeah, from here, we just pretty much nuke the rest of these ads down, kind of wring them out of sanguine here. Yeah, overall, nothing too crazy you need to worry about there outside of doing the chains. And then we just pulled this next couple packs here. So yeah, in terms of these final ads here, there's nothing new that we haven't, talked about already. All right, this boss here is normally the pug killer, at least in the groups that I run with. If you mess up the chains, it's you're pretty much going to wipe every time, right? So that's one of the reasons I like to do this boss first. Is because, if your group's going to mess up this boss, you might as well do it first and get it out of the way with and disband, instead of doing the mammoth boss and then this one and just wasting another 10 or 15 minutes of your time, right? So, I don't know. I like to do this boss first for that reason alone. So in terms of the chains, we did the chains a little bit differently. Normally you break each chain at a time, one by one by one. And what this group did is we broke 2 chains instantly. I can't remember which 2 guys it was, but 2 of them broke instantly. And then the 3rd chain, we ended up breaking after that initial dot went off. Or the dot from the first chains went off, sorry. So when you're healing this, every time a chains phase comes out, you want to pair it with a cooldown. You almost have to. And the reason you're going to do that, right, is because everybody's taking so much damage, you're going to get more raw healing. You're going to be a more efficient healer if you're using a cooldown during high damage phases. So you can break chains one at a time if you want. That's up to your group. Just know the duration of the dot that's ticking on your group is going to be extended to, I don't know how many seconds exactly. Let's just say 15 or 20 seconds for the purposes of this video. So if you pop a cooldown, your cooldown probably doesn't last for 15 to 20 seconds. So you're going to have to pop another cooldown to be able to offset all that damage. So if you can do 2 chains at once and handle that burst initial healing, sure, it's going to be a lot of healing up front, but you can handle it typically with 1 major cooldown instead of needing like a major cooldown and then a minor cooldown, right? So it's just a more efficient way of doing it, in my opinion. Okay, so let's take a look at this in action here, kind of see what it looks like. So chain's about to go out. He's throwing his grounding spear. One thing you can see here is this Ignite Wizard guy. He's got the bleed on him, and the bleed comes from the charge. So, that's one of the reasons Mage is so good is because he can block it, you can bop it, you can do a whole bunch of different things to counteract that bleed, right? But you will have one target if you're not pairing it up with a defensive on the charge that you will have to pump a lot of healing into. And I'm not sure how he survives this. He might die. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. So chains go out. Okay, so we cocooned him, right? He got low, so we cocooned him. Chains go out. 1, 2 chains. So we popped 2 chains. And then you can see my Chi-Ji's on cooldown. And then I also popped a defensive as well. So we're just going to try to just kind of burst through this. So both stacks went off there. Now we're going to do the third stack here. This is the third chain. So you can see there, you know, that took like 5 seconds of healing. And I only really needed 1 cooldown to heal that. I might have popped Sheelan's gift too. I don't know how many. Yeah, it's at 8 stacks. So, you know, I kind of used 2 cooldowns there for that. But overall, it was less time that the group had that dot on them. All right, then we also have the Dragon Strike here too. This is going to put a huge bleed on a single target. So it goes for the mage. You can see he's got this huge dot on him. And we're just trying to burst heal through it, really. We could cocoon it. If you got low, we could cocoon it. But we're going to safe cocoon for as long as we possibly can. Again, you can bop that. You can ice block it. Pair, you know, make sure if you're getting hit by that, if you're DPS, use a defensive. And there we go. Not too bad. All right, the next pull here, all we simply did is we pulled this pack here. We pulled the rest of the trash on the other side of the hallway. We grouped them all together, and we used the chains on them. Kind of nuked them down real quick. So nothing crazy going on here. Again, it will be pretty much the same mechanics as the mobs you've already faced, right? There's going to be a few things to dodge. There's going to be a high single target dot that goes out that you'll have to kind of heal through, so you want to be able to recognize that. One thing that is a little bit different in this pull is we did pull the sleeping mob here, and we just kited everything up as we kind of walked up the stairs and kind of nuked it down. Okay, then when you get to the top of the stairs here, there will be a mote of combustion that comes out. It's from the Iron Torch mob, and it will be something that you'll want to dispel. It's going to do a bunch of pulsing AoE damage, so you want to make sure that you're dispelling that. We also have the Lava Bear here, and he's going to be throwing like lava orbs at people, so you can go ahead and, you know, just make sure you're not getting hit by that. And then the Iron Torch here also has something called Scorching Breath. It's a frontal, so that's another thing you don't really want to be getting hit by. In terms of kicks, these little lava flames are going to be shooting out these little melt single target attacks. They're going to do a little bit of damage, so you can kind of kick that. One thing to be kind of mindful of is these stairs. You get line of sight, like especially as a healer, it can really line of sight you badly. Because a lot of tanks, right, they'll just kind of pull all the mobs to the bottom of the stairs here. I think our tank ends up doing it. Let's see what happens. I thought we grouped them down here. That might have been another run, but you want to be careful being right here because some of your party members will run to the top. You might run to the top and they're at the bottom of the stairs. You just want to make sure everybody's kind of on the same side so you're not LOSing yourself. But really, I mean, the main issue with this hallway is just there's not much room to walk. He's throwing lava at the ground. There's an AoE you got to run out of. There's frontals. There's a whole bunch of things to kind of interrupt. It's just kind of hard to maneuver it. And then also we pulled this pack to the left. This is not a normal pack that a lot of groups pull. So this will kind of factor into some of that trash that we kind of skipped at the start. And this also factors into some other trash that we do skip later. But in terms of mobs in here, we have a couple Iron Torches. Most are Bone Splitters and Phoenixes, so we've seen all their mechanics already. So same sort of deal, Scorching Breath, Frontals, some little things to kick. Outside of that, you do the normal skip. You skip this next mob here, kind of standing. You kind of hug the wall here to the right. Pretty standard. Then from here, again, just Iron Torches. Nothing super special. Go ahead and just kind of skip through some of the... one thing that they did try to do, and you'll kind of see here, I think they'll ping it. You can kind of pull these mobs if everybody comes and stacks in this corner. those casters and everything will kind of, you know, group up so you can AoE them down a bit more efficiently. You can kind of see here, we pull in this little cubby. We just kind of nuke him down from there. And I guess he pulled some other trash towards the end of the hallway as well. Kind of what it looks like here. Okay, yeah, so he pulled the trash that was down here with that as well. So you can see that there's a trash below. There's also a trash up here at the top. All right, so from here, we just kind of cleaned up the rest of the trash, and then we go into boss. So before we go into this boss, this is the Forge Master. Kind of skip forward a little bit. You want to make sure you have as many cooldowns as you can possibly have. So if you look at my cooldowns down here, I only have one defensive that's on cooldown. Everything else is available because I'm going to have to use all of it. This is one of the hardest bosses to heal. It's very similar like the third boss of Hall of Infusions. There's just a bunch of pulsing AoE that goes out. So every time he does his little Forge Smash, you'll kind of see it come up here in a bit. It might be called Might of the Forge. Let's see. Yeah, every time he does a Might of the Forge, you want to try to pair a defensive or an AoE healing ability with it. There's also kind of a difficult positioning fight as well. There's going to be a lot of red swirlies that go out on the ground. So you want to make sure that you are not standing in those. So this first Might of the Forge is about to go out. Let's see what we do here. Okay, it looks like we didn't have to use any sort of crazy cooldown. One thing you can see here is I still have my 10 stacks of my gift. You know, I want to try to use that. I don't want to just waste them. I want to use them in a pinch. So let's see what happens here. So you can see Ignite Wizard gets really low. We end up cocooning him. And one thing that I'm trying to do as well is I'm trying to spread out my Renewing Mists to as many targets as possible. I should have talked about this on the last boss too, but you want to have a Renewing Mist up on every single target that you possibly can. All right, so we got 3 Renewing Mist out right now. We want to try to get some Rising Sun kicks in there, right? That's going to spread out more Renewing Mists. And every time there's a Renewing Mist available, get it on somebody. We just have so many things that synergize through our tier set, our mastery, that kind of synergize with Renewing Mist. So another Forge goes out. You can see on this one, I had to crane it. So since I paired it with Crane, everybody's only at half health now instead of everybody being at like 10% health. So you want to kind of, you know, if you have a defensive barrier or something, you want to use that on the front end. Or like an absorb effect, I guess. I'm still watching it here. Okay, so it looks like we ended up lusting at around 60%. We have 5 Renewing Mists up. Another Forge is going to go out. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the fight, right? When the Forge goes out, use a defensive, use a healing CD. Now, I don't have any healing CDs available yet. Okay, I'm about to get Chi-Ji back. So I instantly pop Chi-Ji, I'm sure. Yeah. And then I also have my trinket here as well. The seedling. It is a best trinket for us right now. It could really help for fights like this. I wish I could show you where I used it. Let me go back and show you where I used it real quick. Just kind of show you how that works. And I think I messed it up here for some reason. I don't know why, but I think I messed it up. So you put the seedling out. So here it is right here, the seedling. And as I heal it, it's going to reverberate healing on everything else. So a lot of the times, you can just put it out and then just fist weave, and it's just going to radiate a ton of extra healing out. But what you can also do is channel a Soothing Mist into an Enveloping Mist, into Vivify into it, and it will radiate a ton of healing. This trinket by itself is my biggest AoE healing cooldown. It's probably even bigger than a 10-stack gift. If you can kind of pull it off. It's kind of hard to, right? Because you got to channel a Soothing Mist into it. The seedling can kind of burn out before you are able to heal it up. There's a lot of different things going on with it, but let's see what happens. I drop it. Okay, so I gifted on top of it. So I dropped that and I did a gift, and all that gift healing that healed this was reverberated out onto my group. So I think that was just like a 4-stack. I know. Okay, it's a pretty big gift. But you can see it heals it right there, and then just raw passive healing will help keep the seedling up, healing up our group. Okay, that's pretty much it for this boss. We can probably move on. See what ended up happening here. So yeah, ended up taking about 200k HPS. So that's, to me, that's a decent amount. So let's skip forward a little bit here. Okay, so one thing that's interesting here is we pulled these 2 mobs and we just skipped them. We just jumped down, and I'm not sure how that works. I guess they de-aggro. That's what it looks like, because they never came back down for us. And then we just went across to the Mammoth boss. So some of those extra packs that we pulled before the second boss there, before the Forge Master, that's why we pulled them, right? It's because we did a skip here. So we ended up pulling these mobs, and then there's some pats over here on the left-hand side that ended up patting into us. I think we ended up handling this just fine. Outside of the mage dying. The only thing you really got to worry about, right, is you don't stand in swirlies. Obviously, there's a swirly that goes out. It's a red, like, fireball on the ground. You don't want to stand in that. And there's also a, like, magma beam that comes out. It's that magma conflagration. It's going to target a player. Make sure you're not standing around that player, because if you are, you're going to get hit with, like, pulsing AoE damage. And outside of this, or outside of that pull, we got another big one here. We pull everything in the room. And I want to say there's some pats that end up coming down as well. Same sort of mechanics. You know, don't stand in the swirlies like you see right there. Don't stand next to the player that's getting hit with the conflagration there. And just interrupt what you can, right? So we nuked those down. I thought there's some pats that came down. Doesn't look like it, though. They might have already been down when we started the pull. But let's go ahead and move just up the hallway here. There's one more pack. And yeah, there's nothing new in this pack either. So, all right, let's move on to boss. Okay, so for Magmatusk here, this is a pretty heal-intensive one. And it's not like just the raw damage that's going out. It's mostly due to the fact that there's so much movement required in this one. And I mean, there is a decent amount of AoE damage that goes out, but there's so much movement in this one. You don't have a ton of time to sit down and just cast healing. It's also kind of hard for Mistweaver because it's hard to stay on top of the boss with all the movement that's going on. You know, a lot of our healing comes from damaging a mob. And if there's nothing to damage, we don't get a whole bunch of healing. So, you know, Magmatusk, he's going to charge at somebody. He's going to charge at a random player. You can kind of bait the charge. That's probably my only big tip for this boss is you want to try to bait the charge. Sorry, it's not a charge. It's yeah, it's a charge, and then he shoots out these lava waves at the end of his charge. So what you want to do, let's just take Magmatusk, for example, right here. So the way you want to be positioning in this case is you want to be on his right front leg, right? So let's say you're standing right here. He's going to charge at you, and that's going to give you all this distance that he charges, and then the lava waves are going to bounce off a wall that's really far away. So that's a good thing because it gives your allies, your players, your teammates, whatever, more time to react. So let's say, for example, we're standing on the back of the left leg here. He targets to charge you. He's going to charge until he hits an object, a wall. So he's just going to charge this distance here, and then those lava waves are going to reflect back out, and you only have, I mean, like a second or two to react versus this distance, you have 3 or 4 seconds to react. So you kind of want to bait the charge, kind of similar to like the second boss of Ruby Life pulls, the molten orb that comes out, right? You want to try to bait that. So let's take a look at it here. So you can see where I'm standing here. I'm staying towards the back. There's a lava spray that goes out. You can't direct it really. I mean, you can direct it, but you can't move out of the way of it. It's going to follow you. So you see where I'm standing. I bait the charge to the far wall. Here comes the lava. We had 4 or 5 seconds to react to it, so nobody gets hit. So the next thing, right? So he charged, and now there's a whole bunch of lava on the ground. So kind of where he walks, there ends up being, he places lava on the ground. So that's kind of a bad thing, right? Because now we have half the room kind of split up and there's lava just right down the middle of the floor. So what you can do is position yourself. If you position the tank here, you can now stand on the backside of him and just have him charge over the lava back and forth. So you'll see we don't manage this super well. The whole room kind of fills up with lava. It's a Tyrannical week. The boss takes a long time. He's walking all over the place. But you want to try to bait his charges back over the lava as much as you can. So we don't manage this super well. So we all should be standing right here so that when he charges, he just goes back over the lava and we have more room to walk. The lava spray that went out on the mage. So the charge went on the pally, and you can see it's about to go over all this good ground that we have here. There's also a short distance charge, so we barely dodged the orbs there, and we only had like a second or two to react. So it's really just all a positioning fight for the most part. Kind of go through it here. Nothing too special. Comes the orbs. We had 3 or 4 seconds to react, so that's good. Comes a shockwave. You don't want to be standing on an ally that's getting hit by the lava spray, obviously. A swirly to dodge. And yeah, really, ideally, the tank would move the boss a little bit more this way, and we could all be standing right here so that he just charges back into his lava again. And let's see, I think it gets pretty crazy here in a minute. Yeah, like look at the ground right now. From all the boss movement, I mean, there's hardly anywhere to walk. So it does get pretty crazy. Right, more orbs come out. I mean, the entire middle of the cave here is just blocked off. Somebody gets hit by an orb because there's not many places to move, and it's just something you got to kind of manage. I think we might lose 2 DPS. I can't remember. No, just 1. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this boss. So then we jump down. We pull these mobs here. So this Blaze Wing, he's just going to do a ton of AoE damage. You just gotta kind of got to heal through it. And then we pull it into these 2 wardens up top. There is a frontal on the wardens, so you want to kind of, tank them into a wall here so everybody's not getting hit. So you can see we're at 81% right now. Then when the mobs get low, right, we just pull them into this next pack. We're sitting at 90%. Kind of skip through this. There's nothing super special here. And that pack gets us to, we pull the last mob into boss. Gets us to 100%. And we got 2 minutes left, and, we're in a spot to 2-key this. So she does throw, get to it here. I went backwards a little. She'll throw molten gold on players, and it's just like a ticking dot. You just want to try to heal through it. You'll kind of see it go out here throughout the fight. The main thing, if you're not aware, if you're new or something, there is these little treasures around the room. She's going to get this big shield in a later phase. You just pick up the treasure. It'll give you an icon here, and you just click the icon. When the shield comes up, I'll show you here in a minute, and it'll break the shield. So that's what this Pally's doing here. He's picking up one of the treasures. For the most part, as a healer, I just let the DPS handle it and the tanks handle it. In lower keys, people might not be aware of what you're supposed to be doing, so they might not do it. When that shield phase comes out, the reason I let DPS handle it is when the shield phase comes out, there's a lot of healing that's required to get through it. And, I can't be worried about like moving around to the boss, and it's not that big of a deal, really. I've done it sometimes, but in this specific fight, I just decided to let the DPS handle it. It's just something else you got to worry about during a high heal phase. Might as well have the DPS do it. So, yeah, there's molten gold here. It goes out on the priest. There is, you can see here, this raging ember that comes out. It is CCable. It will fixate on a player, and it will do, I think it's pulsing damage. I can't remember 100%, but it will fixate on a target, and what you want to try to do is just kind of peel the mob off of whoever it's attacking. So you can see here the mob's been getting CC'd. You got Hodge there. Okay, so this is the shield phase. I'll show you. I kind of skipped around. Magma shield. So it goes off. It's got this huge shield. And this is where you use the treasures that you found to take the shield off. So you can see there's a ton of things to dodge. There's a ton of swirlies that go out. It's kind of a chaotic 5 or 10 seconds. The faster you can get the shield off, the better. So I don't know. Let's see how much damage goes out. Might not be too much. So I got hit by something. So it wasn't too much damage because I was the only one that got hit. But a lot of the times people get hit and there's a lot to heal through. I mean, there's not too much with this boss, really. The shield's the main part. CC the ad. Kill the boss. So pretty straightforward. Yeah, there's a frontal you got to kind of dodge. You see I kind of ringed the ember. And yeah, I believe the ad will just kind of burn out. So I don't think you just got to CC him. He'll die. All right, then yeah, another shield phase there. They broke the shield with the treasures. Oh, it restarted the video. There we go. And we're able to 2-key it, so. Pretty cool one. We kind of did the dungeon again in reverse. So, kind of different. I like the route. Pretty good group overall. So, yeah. That's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing. See you guys in the next one.